Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Can everyone hear me? Awesome. Excellent. I think we'll get started. I think people will still trickle in. But again, thanks, everyone, for being here. I'm thrilled to be here. I won't make the obligatory statement about, the rain and everything. So thank you. My name is Geeta. I am in partnerships here at Circle. I am part of the, did I say something good? You did that? Okay. And I focus on the Americas. I'm thrilled to be here today with these three people who are incredible entrepreneurs, very inspirational, and have broken down economic borders, which is what we're going to talk about here. I will let them introduce themselves in detail, but just to let you know, overall, this is Manuel Godoy. Manuel is the CEO of Felix Pago. Felix Pago allows people to send remittances from the US to LATAM in very easy ways using WhatsApp and other platforms like that. Ruben Galindo. Ruben is the CEO of Airtm. Airtm is a digital wallet. And so basically, it allows people to send and receive funds easily through a digital wallet. Ali Erhat. Ali is the CEO of ARF. You have to explain the name to me someday. And ARF basically provides instant liquidity to cross-border businesses. With that, I'm going to let them talk more in detail about who they are and what they do. Manuel, if you want to start.
Yeah, thank you, Geeta, and thank you for the whole Circle team to allow us to talk a little bit about our projects. At Felix Pago, our mission is to empower Latinos in the U.S. to have access to a seamless platform and service so they can take care of their loved ones back home. And we like to say we make it as easy as sending a text. We leverage artificial intelligence so that our users can talk to our bot on WhatsApp so they can send the remittance. And then on the back end, everything is powered by USDC.
Very cool. Ruben?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geeta, thanks for having us. It's awesome to be a part of the Circle ecosystem because it's such a wave to ride. As Geeta mentioned, I'm the CEO of Airtm. Airtm has been a stablecoin wallet for over 8 years now, in one way or another. And we have been through the myriad of use cases that we've all understand to be valuable for stable forms of money throughout the world, starting in Venezuela and Argentina, giving people access to stable currency and a dollar marketplace so they could buy dollars in a way that's permissionless. And that has evolved to helping people earn money online by working in the digital economy and by helping the companies that make jobs for them pay them. And that is the evolution or the iteration of the Airtm mission that we're on today, helping people gain their financial independence.
Thank you for having us. It's Ali. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of ARF. ARF provides liquidity, settlement liquidity, especially to cross-border payment companies, especially licensed financial institutions. We cover, our activities cover nearly all around the world without any limitation in geography and also amount. So what we help is we help the companies, the financial institutions, is that whatever you do, which stablecoin you use, most of the time there is a settlement gap because of FX, because of the regulation, and the liquidity that's required for cross-border payments to settle same day, or at least look like it works same day, is around $4 trillion. So at any given time in the world, there's $4 trillion locked in Nostro Vostro accounts for settlements. So we are trying to digitize that, making it accessible for all the liquidity providers around the world and making it easy for cross-border payment companies to grow and scale without any limitation in gap financing.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Ali, I'm going to start with you and ask you a question. Yours is a very unique use case. It is a B2B use case, which you don't think about first when you actually talk about economic borders. I would love to understand specific kinds of businesses that use you. I know, for example, Helix Pago uses you. If you can even talk through a use case and how your platform solves for that, that would be great.
Of course, thank you for that. And I mean, Emma is here for sure, and we can talk about it. But other than that, I can say our use case solves, especially provides this service to financial institutions and cross-border payments, not limited to remittances, but any kind of B2B payments in cross-border trade finance, e-commerce, employee payments, any kind of, but we are right now specifically focused on remittances and trade finance, I can say. And one of the use cases, not also limited to cash pickup points, but I mean, we serve to all the digital remittance companies, also cash pickup points. Right now, around for a year, we power 800 kiosks, I mean, cash pickup points in the UK for them, for same-day settlements, because, I mean, 80% of the remittances is, you can say, same day. And when a consumer comes and wants to send money same day, the only option for these kiosks, they are already a financial institution independently, but the only option is using the Western Union or MoneyGram liquidity, or meaning the rails in that sense, because they are also the agents of MoneyGram and Western Union. And although they have an independent network, they don't have the liquidity to do that. We start working with 800 kiosks in the UK, and instantly you can see they start competing in prices. So they use our liquidity to settle with their partners in Africa, in Singapore, in Latin America, and start offering same-day settlements with that liquidity in USDC, of course. I don't need to mention that, but it's of course in USDC, because in fiat you cannot settle in same day. That's why you can see the impact, like the consumers seeing lower fees, and these kiosks have maybe tripled their profits with that. Yeah.
Excellent. No, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. So basically, if you allow the core rails to move quicker, you allow the Western Union to move the money quicker from them to their agent, automatically the overall chain becomes cheaper and the cost of the end remittance becomes cheaper. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that.
Can I expand on a little bit of that? Because ARF has been super useful for Felix, especially because when I think everyone here probably knows how old school the financial system in the US is. And to give you the example, when our users want to send a remittance on Friday, they pay us, we distribute the remittance, right, to the beneficiary, but then our payment processor is going to send us that through ACH, and we're going to get that on Tuesday. So the whole weekend's volumes, we need to pre-fund somehow, right? And the cool thing about the ARF Steam solution is that we can programmatically access USDC as a working capital loan, and solve that for our users to make that real time, but also at a cost that allows us to operate efficiently. So which I think is pretty cool.
Excellent. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think this is a theme that we heard even in Electra back there, if any of you were at the large event. Manuel, another question for you, which is kind of in the same vein. Movement of money. So you've decided to do remittances from the US to LATAM. There are tons of people who do that today. Why did you think you could come in and do something different? Like, what would you offer that is any different?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And the interesting thing about this is that when we started this, my co-founder and I, the thing that inspired us, and we're both immigrants in the US. I'm originally from Venezuela. I came to live in California, but then I lived in Texas, Philadelphia, now living in Florida, and my co-founder, similar story. At some point or another, you start realizing how difficult it is to just move money anywhere, regardless of your, the access that you have to digital products. But really, we were both at business school, and we saw this graph that showed how remittances have been growing like crazy for the last 50 years, hockey stick rate. And we noticed that when it comes to Latin America, there is two crazy statistics that I saw. First, at the time we're looking at 2019 data, $90 billion were sent from US to Latin America, a number that grew to $140 billion last year. It's growing 10 to 15% year over year, so it's nonstop. But the crazier statistic was that the average remittance is around $300. So you're talking about hundreds of millions of transactions every year. 75% of them still occur in stores, in cash. So imagine that every Friday you commute to a store, you stand in line for 15 minutes, you pay $10 in fees to send $100 to $200. That, I mean, to us, that didn't seem fair, right? Any close to anything fair. Yeah. But we started like ideating, we started testing a lot of different MVPs, if you will, and talking to actual users in the streets. And we would go out to, we were at Philadelphia at the time, so we would go out to South Philly, Passaic, New Jersey, Norristown, the Bronx, towns where there's a high density of Hispanics. And started talking to users and really learning a lot, and also, quite frankly, getting frustrated because the solutions that we thought were the right solutions were not getting there, right? Where users were saying, I don't need another app, I don't need a wallet. I just need something that I can trust. And you start to see how trust is so important, which is obviously true for any financial product, but the reality was that the physical store is good at providing or conveying trust to the user. There is a person there that is going to help the user, carry on with the transaction, and if something goes wrong, they know who to talk to. Right? It's like, where's my money, right? They know that there's a person there. And that's key. The second thing that we learned is we started seeing that these folks, and again, this is after talking to hundreds of potential users, they are actually digital, and they're heavy WhatsApp users. So anyone here that is probably non-US know how prevalent is WhatsApp, but I like to think WhatsApp as the operating system of the region. And then also, very important here for the audience is that, some people think that crypto is solving remittances, but really crypto, as it is today, is very much detached from the reality on the ground. These folks that send money back home, these are migrant workers, they're not buying Bitcoin, right? They're not sending USDC to a wallet in Guatemala. So it was clear to us that there was a big gap between how it should be, how easy it should be to send money, and how it is today, where the industry is dominated by the Western unions of the world, right? So just another app wasn't going to be able to solve this problem, and we got inspired also by some of the products that have been built around the world on top of WhatsApp, especially in India. In India, there's a lot of this going on. And we gave it a try. We said, let's build a bot on WhatsApp and see what happens, right? And that's when we started seeing some real traction, some real product market fit at small scale. And that's what inspired us to build what Felix is today, which is a companion for these folks to help them send money back to their family.
Excellent, thank you. That was extremely helpful. So Ruben, I'm going to take the same question to you. I know Airtm has had a few shifts in your life, right, in terms of what you really focus on. And I understand the most recent shift is an enterprise payout shift is kind of what you're thinking of and looking at. When I think of enterprise payouts, I think of like Payen and Hyperwallet and like tons of all these people. Even Western Union is trying to do payouts. Why you? How are you going to do it in a way that's better than these people?
Well, yeah, I guess why us? Because we very early on figured out this liquidity issue. We really wanted to get people in Venezuela access to stable currency. And in 2015, that was like a very big challenge because there was no ARF, there was no Circle, there was no USDC. So we had to kind of build that whole stack. And we managed to do that. We built this marketplace where people could exchange US dollars, crypto versions of US dollars, peer-to-peer. And so in that way, someone who wanted to buy a US dollar could basically get US dollar liquidity in exchange for their local bank money, the local fiat, the Bolivar, which at that point was on a crazy rampant inflation. Anyway, and someone who wanted to get out of that dollar could find local liquidity, or someone who would take the other side of that trade, thanks to Airtm's marketplace. That whole thing evolved to be, I guess it ended with a program where we send a whole bunch of aid to Venezuelan healthcare workers. But as a business, being based on this precise market, it was complicated. No VC money, no VC wanted to invest in a company that was focused adamantly on toppling a dictator, you know. And so we kind of extrapolated from our solution. And we said, well, why are people using this over-the-counter crypto dollar trading marketplace in other places that are not Venezuela? And so we realized that there was a lot of people that were trading their online balance, PayPal balance, Neteller balance, Skrill balance, Payoneer balance, Amazon gift card balance, for local currency. So they would go into our platform, they would find some random person who would buy their PayPal money in exchange for Airtm dollars, and then they could exchange those Airtm dollars back to local currency. Same for all those payment methods that I talked about. But guess what? It was very expensive. Some people lose anywhere from 30 to 12% of their value today, trying to go from their closed-loop money networks money or balance to local currency that they could use. And so why Airtm? Well, because we can deliver that cross-border payment thanks to this peer-to-peer, over-the-counter dollar marketplace way cheaper, way quicker, to more payment methods than the incumbents. Why enterprises? Well, because they have that need. And why people who earn money online? Because another key learning that we had in Venezuela was that it was very important, yes, to give people access to a stable currency. But what happens when you don't have any money left at the end of the month to save money? Well, you cannot save money, and so, well, huge churn. And so we saw that people who earn money online, earn dollars, well, they're way better users. And so we help these enterprises, these global marketplaces, get in contact with these people that really need jobs. And thanks to how ubiquitous internet money is, Airtm as a financial platform is very lean. We really don't do much other than put people that need jobs together with companies that give them jobs.
Excellent, very cool. I don't think you actually answered why you're better than Payoneer, but I think I can
well,
extrapolate.
You can deliver a payment using Airtm to someone in any global south country in 6 minutes at 2.5% plus 40 cents on average to basically every local payment method. 6 minutes in comparison to 2 days. 40 cents was 2.5% in comparison to sometimes $6 plus 6%. Every local payment method in comparison to just your bank.
Excellent, thank you. The other kind of side of this coin is like dollarization. We talk a lot about it. I'm sure you heard like some of that this morning as well. I think I'll start with you. I think, the others got to start. So I'll start with you, Ruben. Argentina, Venezuela, the need for dollars is very clear because they have extremely volatile currencies, and they need a stable store of value, right? Is that the case in other markets too in Latin America?
The way I look at the dollars is that they're probably the best product that has ever been created by humanity. And they've been marketed for dozens of years, decades, dozens. They're not eggs. And because of that, as we heard before, everyone is constantly, they understand the value of their money in comparison to the dollar in every single country around the world. And so because you're comparing it against this better type of money, well, yes, you kind of always want this better type of money because, well, your savings are very important if you can afford to save money. Or if you have that culture of saving. I don't. And so I wouldn't say that the need and the desire for a dollar balance is as prevalent in other countries. Or I'll say that the need for dollars is obviously directly proportional to inflation. And there's countries, obviously, with less inflation that have to worry less about like having dollars today because tomorrow you'll be able to buy less money or less things with the same amount of money. But the dollars are a great product to sell. And so everyone, everywhere wants dollars.
Do you agree with that, Manuel?
Yeah, and it's interesting because, Geeta, you and I have talked about this. Some folks are maybe sometimes confused about finding a blanket solution for the whole region or all the emerging markets. Whereas, a USDC wallet, let's bring USDC wallets to everyone. Kind of like that Oprah meme, right? Yes, USDC wallets for everyone. And that's not the reality, right? To your point, like I think that's very well put. The hunger for USD is directly correlated with inflation. But what happens is some countries really do need this. The challenge is, for example, for Venezuela in that case, is there are companies that don't want to operate there. So Circle is one case where obviously because of particular regulations, they're like, maybe we don't need to get there. So that's a challenge, right? How do we help people in Venezuela to have access to USDC? But then even for our case, for example, our users, and there was an experiment by Novi wallet using USDP, where they wanted to give stable coins to Guatemalans. They don't care about that. By the way, the quetzal is one of the most stable currencies in the world. They want the quetzal, and sometimes not even the quetzal. They want the cash. They want that. They want to take that to the supermarket. But at the same time, for us, for a particular case, USDC has a lot of value in that we have access to an open money platform via APIs. We have access to instant payments. We have access to and have access to that at a very reduced cost, right? Because the alternative would be to just go to a bank and get access to an FX trading desk, and that's cumbersome, expensive. It just doesn't make sense, right? And so we're able to leverage USDC to do the cross-border transactions at a cost that allows us to pass savings to the users, and they see it in their in a good FX rate. Our FX, for example, is much better than the big competitors out there, right? And that's completely different than a store of value. And I'm sure there's other use cases that are very unique for not only countries but even people inside countries. In Mexico, for example, you have Dollar App, which is a USDC wallet, but the beneficiaries of remittances are not using Dollar App, right? So it's a different type of segment that is using that. So it's you got to find very unique cases. There is very interesting stuff around, and it's cool because that's opportunity for entrepreneurs to figure out what the use case would be.
No, agreed. And actually thinking about that, Ali, in the B2B use case, since that's your forte, is it important to have a dollar-backed stablecoin to offer the liquidity? Is that the demand, or could it be any token of stable value? What is the demand for dollar-backed liquidity?
I think it's huge. You can imagine $4 trillion locked for only settlements. I mean, between financial institutions especially, shows that there is a huge need for any kind of stable coin, but USD backed in that sense, or USD stable coin. And I believe USDC is doing a great job there in means of, I mean, we all know stable coins have some intrinsic values like store of value, medium of exchange, etc. Transparency, of course, because it's blockchain, but other than that, it's like Circle is a financial institution and regulated, helps us a lot because we are a financial institution in Switzerland, and we are regulated. And the full transparency aspect of the backing of the liquid asset backing, and also the offering of one-to-one exchange, tokenization, redemption. I mean, it creates not only a USD token or USD coin in that sense, but it creates a really a settlement asset for global payments. You can think it like as an analogy. There's a joke I make in many meetings to the clients. I say if you have a bank and all our cross-border payment clients have a bank account there, then there is no problem in cross-border payments. We can settle instantly. But it's insane. I mean, there won't be any a bank account like that or any bank like that. Although there are huge banks like covering huge geographies, regions, although there are different entities, different regulators, so you don't have any kind of bank account that will, in cross-border payments, that will connect each other than USDC or USD stablecoin kind of wallets, you can say, and infrastructures, because you know it's one-to-one always and it's fully backed, it's issued by an institution and a financial institution regulated, and also you can have the liquidity. I mean, everyone knows they can have the liquidity on-ramp, off-ramps everywhere in the world. Although it's developing, of course, it's not and we see the implications of it. While the banking system fails in many ways, stablecoin still is up and running. I mean, in many times, it's so interesting. I mean, when the banking crisis this year, many clients of our friends or us too talked about the banks and what's going to happen. Their funds in their banks and VCs asked about us, but not one single client called me, not one single VC called me and asked about what's going on with the stablecoin part, what's going on with USDC, because it's fully transparent. I mean, the transparency angle is mostly talked maybe in a more like a keyword or a buzzword, but it's I think the biggest difference is in the transparency and trust angle of a stable coin, and I think USDC is very, very strong in that.
Thank you. Actually, that was going to be my next question. Why did you pick USDC? But I think you've already answered that. I would love to hear from both of you. Ruben, why did you pick USDC versus any other stablecoin?
Well, as I began the conversation, we believe that there's this huge wave around USDC. In fact, if there is one company, if I could invest in with one wish, it would be Circle, because I think it's incredible how you've all managed to get this capillarity of USD, or you figured out a way to get USD accepted almost everywhere without kind of lifting a finger. I'm not saying that, or diminishing the role that you play, but it is us that are working for you to build liquidity and redeemability of USDC locally and credibility for it. Whereas the next entrepreneur will have a way easier time using and getting their asset for whatever purpose they use accepted everywhere. And so I think there's a huge network effect because it's so beneficial for all of us to be pushing that same USDC balance everywhere.
Thank you. No, excellent. And you're absolutely right. This is an ecosystem. We depend on each other. And I think that's the best way to make it happen. Manuel?
Yeah, in our case, it was interesting because we knew from the beginning that we had to use crypto in general. And for the things that I mentioned before, open money platform via APIs, instant payments or instant settlements, and low cost, right? But the downside of crypto in general is, as everyone knows, is the risk of volatility. And we can't have that, right? Because imagine if we were to settle in Bitcoin and settlement takes an hour, there's a downswing, my user's going to get extremely affected, and the company is obviously going to get affected. So that naturally kind of get us to think about stablecoins in general. And when we were looking at stablecoins back then, there's a huge spectrum that I'm sure everyone in the room knows, but some of these tokens are not efficient. Some of them are just clear scams, right? And it's being demonstrated in the last few months, years. And when we started taking a deeper look at USDC in particular, it's easy to like the fact that it's backed by US assets, like treasuries that are custodied in financial institutions in the US, right? And it's interesting because when you are when you're not in the US, you always have there's always this respect with US institutions, but sometimes when you're in the US, you think things are crazy and the government is shutting down now, right? But really, I mean, that backing is key, right? There's trust in that. And not only that, but there's actual audits going on, right? So to us, when we partnered up with Circle at the beginning, we got excited because they obviously shared the vision that we have, but also we shared that value that we need to offer faster, simpler, a more efficient way to move money around the world. And I think that's key.
Thank you. I want to give the audience a chance to ask some questions, but very quickly, before we get there, each of you, if you could give me 1 or 2 quick thoughts on what do we need to improve to get this thing to move faster, to get this thing to be adopted more, to be more utilitarian. What is it that we need to do? Ali, if you want to go.
I think traditional financial system maybe especially in payments perspective, in cross-border or domestic, needs to maybe start working on more synergetic structures with licensed, regulated actors in Web3 world, basically. I would say, we are struggling, and it's not easy for everyone, anyone, Circle, us, you. Banking relations is a thing you need to manage and everything. Although you even don't provide any FX rate, you don't do any custody, or you don't do any payouts directly. It's a huge thing to create a step forward in the relationship with traditional finance, which means the regulatory part is very important. I believe in the advancement of this space, I'm seeing it like we need to be more and more in touch with the regulators anywhere in the world where we work, and try to, you can say, address their issues. Yeah. That's why I said the transparency is very important. It's one of the aspects of that is like Circle's transparency is, it was monthly, but now it's daily, I believe. It's incredible. And we fully inspired from that. We're a financial institution, and you can say we are audited every year, and you can say everyone, all our LPs, investors, clients, hey guys, we are regulated, you can trust us. But is that right? You are only regulated annually. Yeah. Nobody knows what's going on in there, for a year, at least. That's why we launched our transparency initiative and protocol. So we are moving all the receivables we receive for the loans we provide. We move them on chain, and then we also add that as an everyday moving money in USDCs, transparency, coupling them together and showing them publicly on chain, everyone in the world, which makes it like you will see what's going on every day in ARF, in all the funds, all the settlements, all the clients moving their money, although you don't see the names. But now we are employing our independent auditor in Switzerland to check our books and the wallet addresses, the client names monthly, to provide an attestation or kind of a report for that, to make it work for everyone. That there is an infrastructure play to be made and to address the regulatory issues and the problems that might lie ahead upfront, you can say.
Excellent. No, thank you. Absolutely. Transparency, regulatory advancement. Ruben.
So I'll be very brief, and I'll give you something that I think you should continue to do, and another thing that we all need to do as an ecosystem. Start with the second one. USDC grew with, I guess, the bull run of crypto.
Yeah.
And as such, it was very associated with crypto, because that's how it became to be known. Like, we all know about USDC because we traded it for Bitcoins at some point, you know? But now, USDC has that very strong crypto rap about it. And crypto as a whole has a very bad rap. And so USDC has a very tough time being accepted by people who are going to use it as infrastructure because it is crypto. And so we spend a lot of time just selling crypto or selling USDC or actually our mass payment products, but inevitably, it's like, hey, well, yeah, but that's crypto, right? And it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we have to work to clean up the reputation. And I believe by selling the benefits of true peer-to-peer payments, like, why are you renting a third-party rail? Why don't you just send the payment yourself, in our case, but each of us in our own battle? And then the thing that I think you do very well is that you're not shy about investing in particular businesses within your ecosystem. Sometimes we feel in these ecosystems, because they're all trying to get adopted by everyone, that they are very careful about not playing or choosing favorites. And that makes it such that you can't really leverage the partner which you sought after or sought out to piggyback on, you know? Like, we chose Circle, and we want Circle to choose us. And I think, I'm not saying that they have chosen us as the #1 wallet for everything, but I do feel the support. And so I think that that's very, very cool that you do.
Thank you. Manuel, you have to be quick.
All right, very quick. I think, so for us, the interesting thing about what we do is that our users don't see that there's USDC on the back. They don't care. Right. It's a little bit of what Jeremy was saying earlier, where it's too complicated that they don't want to know about it. It could be a donkey going through the border, really, and they just want the money to be sent.
Very fast donkey.
Very fast donkey, yeah. And so for us, really, it's two things. So even like the on-ramping, we have to kind of not hack our way, but obviously there's the regulatory parts, there's all these things going on. You got to depend on banks so that you get from the payment processor to Circle to USDC. So facilitating that would be awesome. And you guys kind of had that at some point, and obviously you're evolving into more like a platform, which makes sense. But facilitating that would make our lives so much easier. But I think it's even more potentially impactful on the other side. So all of the innovators around the world focus on the big markets, as they should, right? So they focus on Brazil, they focus on Mexico, Argentina. Only the courageous focus on this place around the world, like Venezuela. But when, for example, for us, the big markets are not these. The Guatemala, the U.S. to Guatemala corridor is $20 billion. But when you try to off-ramp USDC in Guatemala, there's no solutions, right? So we work with local OTCs that are small, and if Circle can give support to those folks in smaller countries, more marginalized countries, I think we can make it more prevalent.
We are actively working on that. So yes, thank you. We did ask for 5 extra minutes, so we'll take 2 questions from the audience. Anybody? Anything? Maybe not.
We killed it.
It's easier. I know. You guys got everything in. Nothing at all. All right? Excellent. Going once, going twice? We're good to go. I would like to thank my incredible panel. Thank you so much. I have learned a lot from you today. And pass it over to the next group of people coming up.
Thank you, everyone.